All right. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? How you doing out there? Thinker St. James here. We are live for the Friday Free for All. I'm, of course, joined with my last week's fights co-host, Chase Parton. Chase, how are you, sir? Oh, you are muted is how you are right now, sir.
Good times.
There you
Funny.
go.
What I was gonna say is still debating if we're gonna pull out the face paint for the Mexico card, but as of right now, we are having a good time. I'll tell you that.
The face paint was epic for the last time that we were on for an extra stream. I would love to see that. If you do, make sure that you screenshot and send it over because I'm starting a collection of all of your face painting endeavors.
Let's go.
Absolutely. So, generally it is just myself and Chase for these extra streams, or sometimes me by myself. But in addition to the two of us, ugly lugs, we have our good friend Sarah Toby is with us today. So we're going to bring her on right now. Sarah, hello.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Of course, I'm stoked.
Yes, absolutely. So, we wanted to have you on for a couple of different reasons. Of course, you are an MMA fan first and foremost, so that makes sense. I didn't know what the exact right way to introduce you would be. I know you do a lot of different things, former co-host of a different show, now hanging out with us over here. So I wanted to let you kind of introduce yourself and say it correctly so that we don't get anything misconstrued.
Oh, Lord, putting me on the spot. Well, I think you kind of did a good job. I'm just an MMA fan. I do some interactions and connections with various fighters, and yeah, it's just it's real cool.
All right, right on. Well, I know that you are also, I guess, a model of sorts as well, and you stream too. So I don't want to again misconstrue any of the streaming stuff that you do. If I didn't know if you wanted to mention any of that, but I know that if you go to Sarah's Instagram, of course, she is often showing some of her modeling stuff, so you can get some more information there. And what is your Instagram, Sarah?
My Instagram is sarah.toby666.
There you go.
Nice.
Right on. So, we wanted to know a little bit about the female perspective, or at least I did, on certain MMA topics. There's an atmosphere sometimes of MMA being a little bit of a boys' club. I think that that's somewhat fair, even with women's MMA being on the rise. So I was just curious as to how your interactions have been in the space. I know that you've kind of been in a lot of different areas of interactions when it comes to the online MMA discourse.
So I kind of started out moderating a Facebook group, and it's MMA Shitposting 2.0. And whenever I started, I got so much shit. People absolutely could not stand me. And, they would talk shit about how I was a woman and didn't know what I was talking about. And, I got memes made of me, you guys. It was crazy, absolutely insane. The links that people would go just to like down me and try to make me feel like, I didn't belong, But since then, since I've kind of proven like, yeah, I do know like what I'm talking about, it's kind of chilled out a little bit. I've gotten it's a lot more welcoming now as opposed to whenever I first like kind of joined the community, I guess you could say. Um yeah, I got some wild messages, some terrible comments. It was wild.
Yeah, a lot to deal with, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. And like
True.
as a mod, I just had to every comment that was talking shit about me, I still had to accept it.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of an odd situation to have to be in, right? You have to, on the one hand, you're still a person, but on the other hand, you're kind of in a slightly different position as a authority figure, quote unquote, in a group like that.
Yeah. It was I don't know, I guess it's a good thing that, Sarah takes no shit.
There you go. And you do know your shit about MMA. I mean, you are a regular watcher of the UFC, correct?
Yes, absolutely. I try my absolute best to watch every Saturday, that there's an event. But if I don't watch Saturday, I go back Sunday, and that's what I spend my day doing.
Right on.
Oh yeah. So what'd you think of last week's card?
It was okay.
Hmm.
It was okay.
No.
Up until like I don't know, the last few fights, honestly. Prelims were pretty blah, I would say. But I will say that Brady looked fucking phenomenal.
Oh yeah. Pretty
There you
down
go.
with that thought there. I mean, compared to this week's card, are you more excited for this one compared to what your excitement level was for last week?
Yeah, actually, yeah. I actually, I don't want to like name drop or anything, but like I know somebody that's fighting on this card, so it's pretty exciting for me.
Hell yeah.
And who would that be?
Yeah, we'll get
Oh,
into it right
Say
now.
name drop. Come on, say a spill.
okay. No, Joe Piper is fighting, and huge fan, huge fan. He's a real cool guy. Deserves the win for sure.
Yeah, no, I hear that. I mean, fuck, that dude don't deserve a fucking win. So,
I just don't feel like he takes it as seriously as Joe does.
facts. I hear that one too.
I think a lot of people were just surprised he ended up making weight in the first place, right?
I mean, he still looked fucking horrible, so that should tell you something.
Well, that's what
That
I'm saying. He hasn't made weight so often, and it's just like, do you really like take this serious? Are you really about this?
Facts.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's been in that weird position where it's like if he tried a little bit harder, it feels like he could have had a little bit more of a successful run, and so he's kind of middled himself to an extent.
Yeah, Beeb, hold on. Now we're gonna get into it. Put the comment on the screen.
Oh
There's
yes,
no need.
shout
There's
out to
no
Beeb,
need for this.
but
No need for this, buddy. Because
Beeb coming in hot.
there's no need to hope for this, and there's no reason to be living in fantasy land. Like, what is Kelvin gonna do? This guy here is so unimpressive in his last couple bouts. Like Joe Pyfer, at least, being a knockout guy, a striker. I still think the sub is really live. This dude's really got the grappling when he needs it, and he does train with Sean Brady. And Kelvin did get subbed his last fight by Sean Brady. So I'm just saying, I think it's all there for you.
That's a spicy take, though, thinking that he's going to be able to get it to the ground and do the
Well,
work down there.
I think it's more or less that he won't be able to get the finish on the feet. Kelvin's never been, knocked out or whatever. And maybe Joe's going to be the first one to do it. I'm not saying that's incorrect because I think the finish is what you got to go for. The sub is, I think it's live. I'm not going to say I don't think it's there, but I think it's possible.
True. And Beeb, of course, clarifying that he's just a troll. So
exactly. So he knows Kelvin's going to get stomped.
Exactly. Well, I mean, look, the thing with Kelvin, though, to me is that, like, even though he is just sort of like self-middling, he does somehow pull out victories at times. That's how he
Name
has
him.
continued to be. Well, he beat Chris Curtis.
Okay. I'll take that one.
You know, there you go. Pull that one out real quick. But you know what I'm saying? I mean, but so there you go. I think that actually is a good illustration of my point, though, is that like a guy like Chris Curtis, he can beat. Is Joe Pyfer Chris Curtis? I would say not, but Joe lost to Jack Hermanson, who had been out for a long time.
And he's
So
been out a long time
But
again. Can we make a note of that? Now, go ahead.
Joe was really sick whenever he fought him. So it kind of had, something to do with it just a little bit. I'm not making excuses.
Right.
But he was really sick. So
And that's
he's
what
still
they're saying Alex lost the belt for, is being sick.
yeah, that narrative has been going around now too, hasn't it?
It's flu season, guys. I mean, I believe it. I had it a few weeks ago, and I tell you, I wouldn't be able to fight with that shit.
Sure. I guess it's a fine point, but didn't Michael Jordan put up a crazy amount of points with the flu? I don't know. I'm just saying.
It was food poisoning.
All
They
right.
just call it the flu game because it's easier than the food poisoning game. Either way.
Apples and oranges anyway, right? But
yeah.
Regardless. So I mean, I don't know how often you're interacting with Mr. Pfeiffer, but have you gotten any word from the camp? I mean, how's weight cut been going? Any of that kind of stuff?
Seems like he's doing pretty okay. Pretty okay. I haven't talked to him in a couple days, but he had sent me some snaps a while ago of him like camping out like way up in, some mountains and stuff to get ready for elevation and stuff. And yeah, seems like he's getting his shit together.
Nature calls. I like it.
Well, and it's good to hear because, we've been kind of talking a little bit about the elevation aspect of this card, and we've seen it. We've seen it in Colorado, how the elevation affects these fighters, and this is kind of one of those litmus tests as to who can adapt the quickest and adapt the best.
True. And here we go back to the Kelvin situation. This dude at elevation, I mean, he might not be able to be a long distance fight kind of guy. So
he's a Mexicano, my dude. He might,
he trains in America, doesn't he?
He does.
yeah, exactly. So whatever. Like, I don't know. Joe Pyfer, I think all the cards are setting him up for success here. This was obviously a pretty good matchmaking move by them. They want Joe Pyfer to obviously get a good finish here. Finish the dude who's never been finished. That leads him back in the aura spot after losing to Jack. I think this is good. This is good.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, the matchmaking makes a lot of sense for him, and it's a decent name. I mean, this is now going to be a Hall of Famer, right? I mean, Kelvin and Israel Adesanya in the Hall of Fame for their fight. So, a win over a guy like that raises your stock.
True. Yeah, I hear that. I'm trying to think if there's any more fights on the card. Sarah, are there any more fighters on this card that you are interested to see?
Well, I mean, Rosas Jr., of course.
Nice. We can talk about that one. We can talk about that one. That's a good one. Listen, Vince Morales, that opponent he's got, I'm a big fan after his last matchup. I tell you, if one matchup can do that, he must be pretty damn good. But Raul Rosas is honestly that fucking guy. I mean, he's that kid right now still, but he's that guy. So I'm down for the thought process that if Vince is going to go out, 0-3 in his UFC return or whatever it is, Rosas is fine to lose against.
Yep, absolutely. I think he's not only he's just entertaining to watch. I think he's awesome, and the fact that he's still pretty young. Like he's really young. What is he? What 19?
20 now, yeah, but still
20, yeah.
Can't even drink a beer.
Like, damn.
Yeah, doing great things as a youngster, but starting at least based on his last fight to show some human elements as far as cracks in the game go. I think,
he was just real slow in his last one.
It was not only the speed, I think it was also just the response, I think, a little bit, because he wasn't getting his way a lot. And a lot of times, I think in some of his earlier fights, he was the kind of dude that was able to swarm really easily. And when he has opposition that is not going to allow him to just grab the back, take the neck kind of thing, then, there's a little bit more adversity that he's facing. It's a little bit tougher for him.
Yeah, that last matchup, unfortunately, before then, Rosas was, and he still is, the finish or be finished kind of guy. And so that last one, for him to just be so passive throughout the whole matchup and not really look for a finish, it was kind of upsetting. But I'm hoping he's going to be able to get back to it. Like, dude, 20 years old, he's got so much time to improve. And Vince Morales, again, being 34 years old, this dude's a vet. Raul's been facing vets for a couple of years now, and he's been doing just fine. Like, one of his first matchups was against a dude who's like 30 years old, and like he manhandled him. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot of steps up along the way that he's going to have to overcome, and that's going to be a continuous thing throughout his entire career. So if he's getting that experience this early in his tenure, then this is it's going to continuously be tougher and tougher, and he's going to have to adjust to all of that.
And shout out Beeb, because he came in with the facts. 3 of his 10 UFC fights, that should tell you how entertaining he is. If you win 3 and you get 7 losses, hey, you must be damn good for the eyes. And yes, to your point, yeah, Raul's probably going to take the dub. But I think it'll be entertaining. I like my boy Vince.
Earlier question that Beeb did have is, Sarah, do you have any inside track on any injuries on Joey Pfeiffer here? Is he 100% healthy? Because if not, the cash is going to be flowing.
He's in good shape.
There you go. You heard it here first.
Oh, yeah. Good deal. That's good to know. I'm trying to think. Okay, next on the list. What else? Raul Rosas, you're liking. What's next? Come on, Sarah. Pop it out.
I really want to see Loopy.
There we go. Now we're in the driver's seat. All right, yeah, Loopy's definitely going to wrestle Fark all the way to the bell. Lay and pray type of, not even pray because she's obviously going to be winning, but laying, I'm definitely listening. Damn, 31, she's getting up there, but damn, is she going to make me proud with this victory?
I mean, it's against Pilastri, who is essentially, if I'm recalling correctly, she's more strike heavy, right? Isn't Pilastri's more of a striker? So, I mean, I think that the wrestling should be there pretty handily for her, for Loopy, that is. And I mean, she had been so like, she was one that I was really like putting a decent amount of stock in, and then she got a little bit shaky there, a couple of losses, and I was like, I really was
Janjaroba, man. Fuck.
Yeah, that's and that's right now the woman to beat if we're not talking champs, right?
Yeah, she's crazy. I do like Janjaroba. That's why I don't take that loss to heart, is because nobody's stopping her right now, and she very well could get Weili at a very old state kind of deal after a fight or two, if she decides to fight Shevchenko or whatever. Janjaroba is going to be on the prowl for that belt.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, I think that Loopy at one time I thought might have been in that echelon, in that category, but I don't know. I mean, I'm going to have to see a couple more decent wins. This is definitely going to be among them, I would think. I think that this is another one that's kind of like a reset fight. Get another win under your belt, start rebuilding the momentum.
I think another thing that's key that I'll bring up about this card, or I guess I'll ask you guys, do you think there's going to be a lot of finishes? Because compared to the last Mexico card, the Sphere, I know it wasn't in Mexico, but that was the Noche card. There was not a lot of finishes, I don't believe. I think it went to the bell a lot after a lot of wars, especially with Aldana. That one probably could have been stopped way long before it ended. So what about this one? You guys think people are going to go for it, or is it going to be some interesting performances where we see some judging?
Sarah, what's your thoughts?
Fingers crossed that their finishes.
Facts.
Well, one can only hope.
Yeah, definitely that. I mean, and also, I think that it's one of those things where we're going to find out if the conventional wisdom about the Mexican chin holds up or not, because it's like you got a whole lot of Mexican fighters fighting in Mexico, home crowd, home turf kind of thing. You'd think that a lot of them are going to go out there with a good intensity. So there can be a lot of firefights, but then they also are traditionally very, very tough to knock out. So I would suspect, at least based on all of that data, that we have a lot of firefights and a lot of like fights that end up going longer into the fight, and then perhaps like later knockouts, but hopefully still some knockouts on, therein.
I actually think it's interesting now that I look at the card and actually understand what I've been saying. Like, this is not a strikers fest. Like, these are a lot of Mexican grapplers that we're seeing. Like you got Roses, you got Ronaldo Rodriguez. Like I mean, I wouldn't say he's a striker, but I think he does have a lot of knockouts. But I mean, he got dropped by Ode, and the wrestling didn't really work for him too much. So
Missed
maybe
weight also, that guy.
He
you
missed
know,
weight
shot.
about 2 pounds.
Yeah,
I think
something like that.
1
And they
pound,
didn't
but
let him
yeah.
hit the scale again, so that was interesting. Don't know what that's about. Shirez, another dude who I would consider a striker, but I mean the stats would say he's a sub guy. He's got like 3 subs in the organization kind of deal. 2 on the same guy, which is hilarious to think about. Christian Rodriguez and Costa, that's wrestlers. Palooza, Loopy, I mean I think she's gonna wrestle her ass off. Gabriel Miranda, I know we're not pretty sold on this guy, but I think he will be able to grapple in this one because Jamal Emmers, it's like why would he be a minus 550? Can anybody
I
tell
was
me?
literally about to say the exact same thing. I saw those odds come out and I was like, what the hell am I looking at here?
Yeah, Jamal Emmers is like, again, it's like a name that you just pick out of a hat. Like that's
Right.
ridiculous. Minus 500. Now the one after that, Rafa Garcia, I think minus 400 is very valid against a 42-year-old man. So I think that one's valid. I like that. But yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of wrestling is going to happen in this one. I could be wrong. but
So
especially
you're thinking
what?
what?
Go ahead.
Oh, I was
No,
just
go
gonna say
ahead.
you think it's some good subs then, perhaps.
Maybe good subs or boring decisions. Unfortunately.
Could be. Could be. But I don't think that's gonna be the main event though. Sarah, what are you thinking about Steve Erceg versus Brandon Moreno here?
Oh, you mean McLovin and Steve Carell?
There
Yeah,
you go.
that's actually crazy. He does look like McLovin.
He
Wow.
does look like McLovin.
Can't believe I've never seen it until now. Wow.
Well, there you go.
But yeah, I mean, I think this one's good. I mean, I will start with this, Sarah. Do you think Steve Erceg is warranted to have this matchup first?
I don't know. I've honestly just never been super impressed with him, to be honest.
Thank
He's
you.
just, I don't know. You think of names that like stand out, and he's just not one of them.
Yeah, he's just no Josh Van or Lonnie Kavanaugh. I know. It's just hard to beat those guys.
This dude.
But Brandon
Chase has his
Moreno,
favorites, you know.
I mean, but listen, but Brandon Moreno is one of those guys, like at 31 years old, you would think after the career and like where he is in the time of his career, like this would be a lot older of a person. Like for him to be only 31
It's a good
and he
point.
just came off of a smoke job to Amir, like I don't see how anybody in their right mind could say Steve Erceg off 2 losses, one of them being a brutal knockout. He's got this in the bag. Like, even look, this should be minus 500 right here. Like, Steve Erceg, in my opinion, has no fucking chance. Like, there's just nothing. One, there's nothing he does better than Moreno. 2, the circumstances don't lend him to be in an advantage in the matchup. And 2 or 3, whatever the fuck I'm on, Brandon Moreno is just that guy right now. He's still that guy. He showed it in his last matchup, came out after like semi-retirement and just had no problem dealing with the number 2 guy. It was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you're speaking 100% facts there. So my question then becomes, with all of this being said, if it's, I mean, we're kind of speaking past Steve Erceg a little bit here, and there is potential that maybe he pulls an upset
That's
off.
where
but,
we're fucking up too. This one's gonna age well if I keep going.
well, I, just as a general note, we started putting out clips from last week's fights on the channel, and the one that has done extremely well is us talking about this very fight. So happy to see that happening.
Round 2 coming for you guys.
Exactly. So, but all of that being said, if we are correct in this assessment here, then where is the title picture at right now? Obviously, Pantoja has it. Is there a dude who's in line directly for it now? I mean, it's got to be Royval.
Well, no, I was gonna say Royval is the number 1 guy, but like you can't have another match with Pantoja with Royval right now, so you have to throw somebody in there like Manel probably, or if somehow Makayev gets back in here like in the next couple weeks after his karate combat matchup, who fucking knows?
That'd be a
Moreno,
wild curveball.
Moreno is another guy where it's like if you don't do a rematch, then there's nothing else to do. Like, are we gonna do a Pantoja rematch? I don't have they. I'm pretty sure they fought already. Pantoja, and then or we're gonna do Royval with Moreno. I think that's the one that should be made, but they wanted to fucking have Steve Erceg a fucking pity party or something. This one's, I don't know.
Well, I think that really they're trying to probably like have Urseg put up or shut up at this point. You know what I mean? Like it's,
He's been put down already, dude.
but that's the point. It's like, this is your third strike and you're out kind of thing. So I would think that if he loses this one, especially if it's if it is in emphatic fashion, that he is going to be dropping rather hard.
What I was thinking earlier today, and I told Elite about it in the Discord. Sarah, I'll get your opinion. I think Moreno is the type of dude that would not finish Steve Urseg because, like, and then the type of post-fight speech that he'd come on there and be like, he's a family guy, he's a real nice guy. I just didn't want to finish him. I can just see that being the type of thing that happens, and he just beats him up for 5 rounds, but doesn't actually pull the trigger and finish. Oh, my bad. I didn't mean to piss you off. I didn't mean Sigma. My bad, dog.
But yeah, Sarah, do you think that is a likely outcome?
I don't know, honestly. You think he's just like, I mean, he is a really nice guy and stuff, but
they both are too nice. That's the problem.
You think he's just too nice?
Yeah, I think so. At this point, he's been around the block. He's already been at the top for being a ruthless killer. He's like, now he's got to take the safe road and just make his money and be the cool, chill Lego guy. I like it.
He does have some awesome Lego sets. I have seen some of his work. Pretty fantastic.
And he's a Rey Mysterio fan, so he's honestly like a Chad in so many books.
Sure thing. Well, also, I wanted to, Beeb is saying Moreno versus Pantoja 3. Sir, that would be Moreno versus Pantoja 4, my friend. This would be the quadrilogy.
Yeah. See, and that's the problem, is like those are the two best people. They would have to have a 4th matchup with the dude who smoked them.
And that was kind of why I brought it up. It's like, we're in a very similar situation to heavyweight to an extent, where it's like you have gridlock at the top of the division. I mean, obviously there are way different circumstances for why that is, but the same idea as you have gridlock at the top of the division and a bunch of dudes who are kind of all circling immediately underneath it. So, I think that they've been trying so hard at flyweight to shake it up. And these couple of guys have just been continuously saying, we're not going to let you shake it up no matter what you do, no matter who you throw into the mix.
Dude, I honestly, this is why I love the flyweights. Is like they don't take no shit. Pantoja is not giving up the belt. Like you're gonna have to fight him a 4th time if you think that he's giving this shit up. And if not, you better get the dude from Japan. You better get anybody you think that can come over here on whatever day's notice and put up or shut up. Because Pantoja, listen, he's still, what is he, like 34, 35? He don't look like he's slowing down at all. Like this dude's a fucking animal. And if Moreno thinks he's got it, we'll go for 4. If Royval thinks he's got it, we can go for 4. Shout out Royval, though. I'll give him credit. He didn't get subbed, and he did make it to the bell in the most recent matchup, and it was not as horrible. However, anybody else in line, if it's not somebody on the come up now, Josh Van is it's a great name. If we could get a dude from another organization and you tell me Josh Van can't get a fucking title shot at any point this year, I don't even know what to tell you guys. It just don't even add up. That's some hater shit.
And I mean, Chase over here glazing Josh Van as he always is. Sarah, do you have a flyweight that you like that's kind of in the middle range there that you're thinking might be breaking through this year?
Oh man, I don't know, really. Honestly, I don't know. That's like right in the middle.
Well, or just anywhere outside of title range that are like close to title that might be getting someone who should be getting a title shot, like a Manel Kopp kind of guy or somewhere around there,
or Makayev.
So Kopp is my husband's favorite.
Really?
Wow. I don't know if I know.
He's got to get on the stream to tell me this. He's got to tell me why.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say I don't think I know a single person on the planet whose favorite fighter is Manel Kopp. So that's very interesting.
I don't think Manel Kopp is like even reaching that level. Like he might even have a favorite fighter. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. I don't know. He loves him though. He thinks he's so cool, and I don't know. We've even like watched his beat KFC fights and all that stuff per his request. So he really likes him a lot.
Manel and BKFC?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Did not know that. I'll have to double check on that one.
Check him out.
Oh, right on. Okay.
The rabbit hole goes deeper for the man that is probably the craziest on the roster.
He is wild.
Yeah. So, but you like him too?
Yeah. I mean, he's not like my favorite by any means, but yeah. Yeah, he's not bad.
Rest in peace to Dada 5000. Please don't bring this up. We can get into a whole spiel. But yeah, dude, flyweights, that's probably my favorite division. I just, this is my division here. These are my guys. These are my brother in arms, So I just love when they come out here, especially when they get a main event, because they don't get the love that they deserve. They oftentimes get put under these fucking slobs that lay on top of each other, and they come out here and put on the actual fucking wars. I've been saying it so many times. The flyweights, they come equipped with every facet of the game, and if they don't, that one facet that they're fucking good at is crazy good. So when you get dudes like Moreno and Steve Erceg, little on the lesser side, but Moreno can do everything. The scrambles are going to be fun. The grappling is going to be, it's going to be intense. Like, wow, they're actually like going for, positions. They're going for submissions. Moreno on the feet, his striking it's really unique too. He's got a lot of different elements to his striking that he uses. And he does have like an unorthodox guard to him. I don't know. There's just things about him that he puts together that when you're a unique fighter with that unorthodox kind of style, if you make it your own and you're able to be great at it, like Moreno's a great option. Listen, even Royval, I think Royval has a very good fucking style for what he does, keeping the fight on the feet, leading with a lot of teeps and jabs, and he plays with his length that he has at flyweight. Like, there's just so many great qualities that all of them have, and just flyweights are just chef's kiss, icing on the cake. I swear to you.
Well, I mean, that's why 2 points. I mean, obviously about Royval, after the Tatsuro Taira fight, we saw just what the levels to this game are, and he's got them. So shout out to him for that. But
I forgot all about that. That's like one of my favorite fights. Like,
it really
last
is.
Year.
Yeah, that should be heralded as one of like a fight to watch, especially at least for a flyweight for sure.
Talk about a back and forth. Like, if you
Yeah.
want to ever bring that term up, that's the 100%, the picture perfect back and forth.
Yeah,
So
and then the other point was that that is why the way that you were outlining Moreno is exactly why I know it might be a slightly spicy take, but I'm okay with a 4th fight with him and Pantoja personally. I liked every single one of them, all 3 of them. I enjoyed them all. So
Beeb just asked, question for all. When Moreno wins, do you think he has a shot at 135? Seeing how he fought Pantoja 3 times already at 35. Oh, that's tough because there's a lot of good people there, but Moreno has the striking to compete. Like, if Sugar Sean's able to, be good at 35, there would be no issues. There would be no issues, I think, if Sugar Sean's able to be. I mean, he does finish, but that's a different story. And what Thinker said going to the 4th fight after what Moreno's looking like, especially if he comes out here and looks as good as he did against Amir, if he shows something crazy, I'm not going to say I'd hate a 4th fight because I didn't get to see the first 3. So I would be down to see it happen the 4th time. And I would love to see Pantoja once again show why he's the best. And if that doesn't happen, well, shit, now we get Royval and Moreno for the belt. How about that? Like, that's a good one. And I've been waiting for that, and they just keep putting it off.
Well, that would, of course, be at flyweight still. Sarah, your thoughts on Moreno going up to 35?
I think it could be interesting. It sounded like you were hating on Sean just a little bit, Chase. Is that what you were doing?
I do like my boy Sugar Sean. I did like him before the Marab fight. I do think, and this is what's most important about Sugar Sean, is he overplays his fucking walkout song. When he did it against Aljo, it was good, right? Because he wasn't the superstar yet. Then he knocks him out. Okay, now get a different thing. He came out to the same song at the Sphere, and the aura was gone, and then had the performance that he did. And I think it's funny, too, that he got smoked. 50-45 is not what the judges gave him, but it was nowhere close to a competitive matchup. Shout out Marab for making Sugar Sean, who I thought the Sugar Show was going to go to 2030. I thought that was what's going to happen. Not one title defense, and then a rematch a year later. So it is hard for me to say that Sugar Sean is still that guy. But when he comes back and puts on the sniping masterpiece that I know that he can do, I will take back some words. But as of right now, the curly head, he's doing nothing more than Carrot Top. It's just crazy.
And that was going to be my question then. So, Sarah, we all know what happened to Sean O'Malley, with his last fight. What are you thinking about him coming back? Do you think that we're going to see a resurgence? Is he going to come back better than ever and get this win, or is he coming back and having a similar performance last time?
So I will say, I do have an like a little inside connection with Sean.
Yeah.
Not with Sean directly, but within his circle.
Right.
All right.
So he was like very much so injured with his first fight with Merab, which, like I said, it's not an excuse. But think about it. If you think about where he was injured in the hip and trying to like push yourself up off the ground with somebody who's on top of you, it makes it 10 times harder. I couldn't imagine trying to like even stand up with like, what it was, a torn labrum in his hip. Like I couldn't imagine. So he wasn't on his A game, and I'm going to give him props because he didn't make any excuse for it. He was like, he was better than me. He just was. And I don't know. I'm hoping to see him come back and absolutely destroy. I love Sean. I think he's awesome.
I think you're cooking, because I definitely will admit that during the fight, what was the most frustrating part about Sugar and Merab is that Sugar Sean just would not initiate anything. And obviously there was an injury that going with it, and all he was able to do was snipe with the right hand from the outside. And it was really frustrating. Like, why are you throwing these long body shots? Why aren't you, why aren't you getting the Sugar show going? Like, where's the fancy stuff? Where's the distractions? Where's the footwork? Where's the stance switch? There were so many things that Sugar just left out of the game, obviously injury, but there were so many things that could have been better for him in that performance. And he probably could have won, but then just let Merab take over. And what Merab is able to do is, he's not necessarily controlling the match to an extent after a certain point, but he is controlling the momentum of the crowd, and he's able to win over rounds by doing the goofy stuff. And it's not really winning in a lot of people's eyes, but he's out here making it enjoyable. And Thinker, he's over here rolling his eyes. You can't tell me that Merab is just out here just like dominating, like like
He
like
fucking was. Are you kidding me?
It was. Listen, when it comes to ground domination, Fluffy is a good example of somebody who is just going to lay on you and dominate you. Merab does a lot of the clinching and grabbing, and he'll dump you on your butt. But after a certain time, it's no more of him being a controlling expert. It's just him having a good time doing this shit. Like, he's able to get the crowd on his side, and that's what wins the rounds, in my opinion. Because you can go anywhere you want, and you will find people argue the rounds that Merab wins in any of his fights. Like, it wasn't a listen. Sugar Sean, I didn't want to bring it up. Sugar Sean, it was maybe like a week after he tried to pull the I won 3, 4, and 5, but see, and then that went out the window real quick because it wasn't flying over with him. But like in any case, like people would argue Umar beat Merab, and it's like, Merab's just able to secure the fandoms. Like, nobody's gonna say, well, Merab was like getting beat up or he was losing the fight, but people would argue like, oh, well, he technically lost the round, kind of deal. That's just me.
No, and you're not wrong. I mean, we did have the conversation on the show about how close some of those rounds with Umar were. If you really go back and watch them point by point. And I think I made that point that a lot of the momentum is off of the showmanship for sure. But that being said, you have to have the control and the domination to make that effective. Because, I mean, we've seen plenty of guys showboat their way into defeat,
True.
So,
Fact.
yeah, I mean, I think that to say Merab is not that was going to be my point to what Sarah was saying about the injury. It's like, not only are you trying to get up off the ground, but you're trying to get off the ground with the best guy in the world on top of you, so it's a tough situation to be in on top of the injury. That being said, I hate to rain on the parade, but I think Merab he's that guy though. I really do.
Listen, I agree. Merab's that guy right now. But if Sugar comes back and actually pulls it off, and he's a heavy dog for some reason, I wouldn't be surprised, because Merab's been chinned. He's gotten wobbled. Whatever you want to say, by people who are not the striker that Sugar is. Henry Cejudo put this dude on chicken legs. So if you don't think the same, left hook's going to come quicker with a little more power, I mean, I don't know. I think I think this is the perfect opportunity for Merab to kind of overlook Sean. Like, oh, I already beat you once. I'm the king of the tower now. And then he comes out and it gets interesting for him. But I don't know. We'll have to find out and see. Is it even official yet? Like, is that because I know Beeb just said it's in the works. I was like, we know it's in the works, but is there a headline? Is it actually official for a place? Does anybody know?
I thought that they were trying to get that for Miami again, which is I think because I think I thought about, or I mentally noted that because the first one took place in Miami, so that's what I thought I had heard, but I don't know if that's actually been made
Right.
100% official just yet.
Hmm. Yeah, that one's gonna be good. I mean, I hope it's good. Everybody comes into fights hurt. Not everybody's injured necessarily, but Sugar going into the fight with the injury, knowing that he was handicapped, it was exactly what he was, criticizing Aljo for. When he couldn't get the fight with Aljo, Aljo was complaining that he was, hurt and he was still healing. He just fought or whatever, back to back, whatever. So the fact that he was able to, stand on business and do what he was criticizing the other champs for not doing, I'll give him that one. I give him that. He does have a goofball mentality, personality kind of deal, but at the end of the day, he's kind of about business.
Yeah, I mean, he's got I think he's definitely business minded with all of that. I think that he's carefully crafted a persona for himself, but as I've always said about all of that type of mystique that a fighter creates, you have to win the fight. That
True.
at the end of the day is the deciding factor of everything. You can talk as much as you want, you can be whoever you want in this sport. It's one of the reasons I love this sport so much. It gives you all of the leeway to be exactly who you want to be, but it's all predicated on winning the fight. So can he do that? We shall see.
It will be interesting. I'm trying to think of some other things. I mean, why would they go for the rematch with Sugar when there's probably somebody else in line who could do, who could suffice as a headline against Marab instead of a rematch? But I can't say that I hate it. I don't dislike watching Sugar Sean fight. I mean, he
Oh,
does
they're
make
going
it
to give it
exciting.
to him. It's going to happen. I mean, because they're, as far as the organization is concerned, the star power, they got to see if there's still anything left in that well. You know what I mean? They got to see if that thing is dry or not. And they shot him up. You can't let a guy who you hot shotted like that, who actually succeeded in the hot shotting, just completely fizzle out off of one loss. Especially when it's a title loss.
Yeah, and it sucks that you say it that way because we've seen. And actually, now that I say it this way, I mean, we've seen, I was going to say with Strickland, the fact that he wasn't going to get a rematch, but then he ended up getting it. So I guess it does add up. I mean, same, get a fight after and then wait, then get the rematch after. So I don't know.
I will say
Sarah,
he has
yeah.
he's really amped up his training here lately. Uh, via the source that I have, uh, he's looking damn good. Like, he looks good before, but he's really amping it up. He's really looking good. So I
In
got my
what
fingers
way? I
crossed.
mean, we're talking about just his striking, or has you seen some ground game footage, or what are you referring
He's
to?
been working on some ground game. He's been working on that quite a bit. I mean, he's already a damn good striker, but yeah, he's been working on some ground game.
It's crazy you bring up the ground game that he's working on because for the longest time I've heard Sugar Sean has a ground game. He's some crazy level grappler, but none of that has ever played a factor. I mean, he's good enough on the feet that it doesn't matter, but in the one match that it didn't, obviously injuries, but I mean, he wasn't able to showcase the grappling that everybody said he was going to have, injury aside.
It's Justin Gaethje syndrome, my friend. I am so sick and tired of hearing about people who have this amazing skill in their back pocket and we never see it. If a tree falls in the forest and no one is there to hear it, does it make a sound? I am sick of the narrative.
We can get into this. Sarah, what do you think about Leon Edwards? Because going into this topic, talking about people who just have false skill sets that people just apparently believe in. Leon Edwards and takedown defense. It's the only thing that these people live on. And it's crazy because you could talk about his striking all day. I don't even know why that's not a focal point that people bring up. It's like, oh, well, have you seen his strike? It's like, no, he's got great takedown defense. And it's like, to fucking who? I've seen him getting takedown in every single fight by literally. I'm pretty sure Colby got a takedown on him too, and he was winning that fight convincingly. Usman took him down a whole fucking bunch of times in the first fight or second fight, whatever the technicality. Then Bilal is able to just ruin this man's life by wrestling him for 5 rounds. Sean Brady also is able to wrestle him, not even just wrestle him, but make Leon shoot on him because the striking just apparently is out the fucking window for Leon. So I just cannot believe that Leon Edwards has this like this narrative around him that he's some crazy level grappling guy, that he can get up from anything, he can get out of anyone's, it's just not a fucking true statement. And I'm glad that Saturday showed exactly what I meant. And listen, I stood on it a little bit. Now, if he would have got up from all them takedowns, I probably would be looking a little stupid, but I'm glad that he got taken down almost all the times that Sean Brady attempted, and then eventually got choked out. It was picture perfect in my mind for how I thought Leon deserved to go out on Saturday.
Yeah, the grappler got grappled. I don't know. I'm on the same page as you. That's all you hear is about his grappling, and I'm just like, okay, but where?
Yeah.
Where?
Yeah.
Part of grappling is having a good takedown defense, and he does not.
All right, Rick. I mean, what? Go ahead, Thinker. You tell her what you think about Leon, and Rick's got something to tell me.
No, I was just going to say that I think that was the narrative going into the fight, at least into the Brady fight, was that, it could have just been because Bilal is who he is, that Leon was succumbed to all of what he was putting on him. But now the narrative has to have changed now. I mean, I don't think that anyone is still continuing down the Leon has great takedown defense narrative like you seem to be portraying it.
Well, it's only a few days out. We haven't even been a week. I haven't got my rounds to make on these Leon Edwards fans. But I will say, even if that was the case up until the Bilal, like, maybe Bilal's just the one case only. It's like, okay, maybe Usman's just the one case only. Maybe Colby's the one. It's like, dude, these are the top of the division. You're getting taken down by everybody at the top of the division. That doesn't mean that they're just the one guy that can do it. It's like, okay, Usman's not here right now, but this was just 4 years ago or something. Like, I don't know. It's crazy to me.
And 4 years is an eternity in MMA, though.
It is. But, like, even still, Leon's still in the prime of his career, and he's still getting taken down by the guys just floating at the top of the division. Brady's on the way up to the top of the division. He was at the bottom just a little bit ago, fighting Kelvin Gastelum. So, I don't know. It's interesting to me that Leon has this fucking stigma that he's so good at the sport when he needs a fucking pep talk to even do it. Like, I don't know. It's crazy.
I just think that Leon was in the right place at the right time. That's what I've always said about, like, especially now. I mean, in hindsight, it's adding up that way. I mean, Leon got the head kick knockout that started this whole trajectory for him after the 9-fight win streak that he was on, something like that, 9 or 10. I mean, he was on a very nice win streak before that, so you can't take that part away from him.
Almost got finished by Nate Diaz.
Yeah, well, but didn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah, I mean, look, I'm saying that this is why people are thinking how they're thinking, my man. Like, I mean, that's the question, right? Like, it's easy now to say, in hindsight, that these are the factors you should have been looking at, but I'm just saying this is why it is.
It's funny because, like, you're like, oh, in hindsight, it's like, well, every fight for Leon is like, well, in hindsight, we should have saw it coming. It's like every time he goes in there, it's like, well, we probably should have seen that coming. Okay, Colby, I'll give him the instance. Colby is not that fucking good. Okay, but Usman, Bilal, Sean Brady now, whoever they got up for him next, it'll probably be a striker like Wonder Boy or something. I don't know what's going on, but Leon is definitely not able to compete at the top of the division anymore. The one time that he did, he got dominated for 24 minutes of that matchup. The rematch, if you watch it, Usman didn't fight the same, and credit to Leon, he was able to keep it on the feet. But history stands, this dude is a hindsight machine when it comes to everything we could have seen coming. Like, gets taken down by Bilal. It's like, okay, we could have seen Bilal being really good at grappling. Dominated by Bilal. Okay, we probably didn't see that one coming. And then the next one was Sean Brady. It's like, okay, surely he's gonna have to come back, make his stake to stay at the top of the division. And it's like he gets smoked. And staff or not, that's his own fucking fault. Listen, I don't know. I'm just saying. I knew the finish was coming for Leon, even though he's never been finished with staff 5 rounds. It just spoke to me. And Sean Brady getting it done. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Shout out to that motherfucking guy and his dope ass tattoo.
All right. Well, Chase has had a lot
It's
of
been a
time
long
to.
week.
I say he's got a lot of feelings about this. This is all spillover from the Monday show, so more that needed to get off of his chest. I want to shift focus real quick because we only got Sarah on for a little bit of time tonight, so I wanted to get to a couple of other different matters here. So shifting gears altogether, Sarah, when it comes to MMA in general, I think that there are a lot of people who base their feelings about certain fighters on a number of different factors. Like everybody kind of has this like different makeup as to why they like or dislike a fighter. It can be whether they win, it can be their personality, things that they do outside of the cage, as far as like, community outreach, stuff like that. There's a lot of different things that go into what creates the atmosphere around a fighter. And there are certain fighters that have some negative things in their history that still are pretty highly praised by a lot of people. One of those being John Jones. And on a certain show that I was on at one point, get into a big debate about John Jones and the merit of this guy as a fighter and a person, which I think are two very different subject matters. But I wanted to know from a female's perspective how you view John Jones, because I think that as whether or not you think he's the greatest of all time, and a lot of people do, as that person versus the things that he has done outside of the cage, some of which involved women and not treating them very well. I wanted to get the female perspective on this. What do you think?
Yeah, sure thing. So I do believe John is the GOAT. He is. As a fighter, absolutely phenomenal. Phenomenal. As a person, I can't stand him. I can't stand him. I mean, to be blunt, I think he's a bitch. But
right.
as a fighter, I mean, he's got the IQ, he's got the skill. I mean, he performs. He is a fighter. Now, morally and stuff, is it questionable? Absolutely. But I don't feel like that has any connection with him as a fighter. You know what I mean? So I don't necessarily judge him because of that. I do recognize that, he is pretty damn good. I mean, I think he's the greatest. So, no, I don't know. I guess I'm kind of torn on that.
Separating the artist from the art. I hear you.
Was just gonna say, yeah. So you can extrapolate the two and appreciate them independent of one another.
Exactly. Just because if you're a shitty person, that doesn't mean that you're terrible at whatever skill that you have. It
Especially
just
fighting, it probably makes you better.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Extra training.
Yeah.
Yeah. John's got plenty of it.
Yeah, well, that certainly is true. I mean, so then that you'd extend that to pretty much any fighter that you
So
like.
yeah, so if Conor McGregor is the topic of discussion, you're like, great fighter, real,
Yeah,
man,
good fighter, shitty dude. Which can we talk about that real quick? What is him?
Sure.
What is he doing in politics?
He's about to be the president of Ireland.
That's right. He's about to be a major world leader.
One of the youngest ever, I think, would also be on the docket. If he becomes a world leader at like 40 or 30, whatever age or something, whatever he is, like that's pretty damn young.
And what the hell is that? Is that not terrifying? That's terrifying. I'd be terrified. I don't want that guy to lead anything.
It's an island, though, ain't it?
Ireland? It's a portion of an island, I believe.
Oh, they can take over the little island. They'll be okay.
Well, I think when it comes to that, this is, I mean, I don't want to go too deep down the political rabbit hole, but this is an extension of what you see in the modern political landscape, is that basically the main criteria that we have now is be famous. At least one of them. It certainly helps, is that, you have a cult of personality that is surrounding a person going into it. They decide to go into politics. That comes with them. But I think that because of Conor and who he is and all of what surrounds him, I don't think that he has much of a shot of actually making it all the way to the presidency. But then again, there were a lot of people who thought the exact same thing about the current president of this country, and we see what we got now. So
here we are.
Exactly. Who knows? What do you think that does for international politics, Sarah, if that happens?
Oh, Lord. I don't know that I even want to think about it. Oh, man.
The Dagestan war is coming.
He's a loose cannon. He just is.
Do they have nukes? Does he have
I
a button that
swear,
he can press?
He's like the embodiment of just like bipolar disorder itself. He is. You know?
I remember. Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off. It's just a funny
No, you're
story
fine.
about. So I was at work, talking about fights to this guy, and I was telling him about the BKFC. I was like, yeah, like the guy who's like the president kind of deal of it, like Conor McGregor, and he's like, I have no idea. He's like, and I was trying to explain it to him. I was like, he's just like an ex-fighter, one of the greatest, but he's like a drug addict, an alcoholic kind of guy. He's like, that can't be like legal, is it? I'm like, honestly, nobody's questioning it. So, I mean, I guess just roll with it. I mean, if the president's going to be a cokehead of Ireland, I mean, nobody's waving red flags yet. So,
well, and also speaking of the double standard, this is something that came up just recently. We were talking about in the Discord a little bit. Jeff Molina, former fighter in the UFC, apparently is now suspended or is serving a suspension. I was wondering what happened to him, where he had been for a while. It turns out that he has been suspended for 3 years because he was wagering on fights, which is against the contract for fighters. However, for him, he had some excuses that I thought did not add up. But one thing that he did say that I thought was pretty accurate is that where's the double standard as far as Conor going out and showing all of his bet slips? Conor's an active fighter on the roster, and he's out here betting on fights quite regularly. So double standard stands.
and I think it's really funny if you go back to what Molina said, and he's talking about, they sent me an email, and like I just kind of I read it and just continued doing on. It's like, why would you admit to knowing that you can't be doing this? Like, I even said it in the Discord. It's like, dude, this is 2025. I get emails all the time, and a company will tell me to check my spam. Like that's just what they do. That's standard. Just say you've never read the email. What email are you talking about? Conor McGregor probably just never responds to them. Like, he just never opens his phone to anybody that would be like, yo, you're suspended. Like, he just not even worried about it. So this Molina dude, I think it is kind of funny that like you played the game, and like they didn't tell you what the repercussions would be, but like, brother, you don't go murder a person and then worry about the fucking shit coming after. Like, you got to know ahead of time, like, there's going to be stuff that comes when I know that this is not good. The company itself, a quota, came around saying, do not fucking gamble. If you do, you're going to get something. And he did it more than once. He even said, like, I did it. Then they sent an email. I continued to do it. So I don't know. I think it is funny that he's kind of like, blasphemy.
But that's why it's bullshit, on his side of it. But I'm talking about the double standard with Conor specifically, because Conor is quite clearly out there doing whatever he wants. So, Dana White privilege, pretty rampant there.
Yeah, true. But it's also like Conor's betting millions of dollars. He's helping Vegas, which Dana, he's in cahoots with. So Jeff Molina betting his $30 slip, that get him out of there. He can just be on the way anyways.
But it don't make it right. Make it right.
But if you think about it, now he has plenty of time to bet. Like, he can bet all he wants when he doesn't have to train for the next 3 years. So he got what he wanted in the end. I'm just saying.
Okay. Your thoughts, Sarah?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I guess I see your thing with the double standard. I don't think that's fair. I don't think it's fair. And my thing is, if one person's not able to bet, then nobody should be. If you're associated, you shouldn't be able to. But also, you read the damn email. You read it. You knew, and you still consciously chose to keep doing the same shit that you knew you weren't supposed to do. Your fault.
I also think what's key to note is this dude is the prime example of somebody speeding and they get pulled over and they say, but they were speeding too. It's like, dude, you're the one that got caught. It doesn't matter. Like, you're trying to bring everybody else into your shit. Like, Conor, he's already got his own shit that he's dealing with. You trying to throw more gambling scandal on the president of Ireland now. Like, come on, dude. You're not him, dude. So I just think it's funny. Like, his idea was like, okay, how do I fix the situation? Conor. I'm throwing Conor under the bus. We'll see what they do. Obviously, they let him do whatever he wants anyway. So my words would make them change it. Like,
wow, yeah, fair. I mean, he's got 2.5 more years to sit and stew about it. So I guess he can dream up a couple
A
other.
lot of tweets, man. He can
Yeah,
do a lot of
exactly.
tweets.
Yeah, fair enough. I don't know. I mean, the double standard aspect of it does bother me, but we know that the UFC operates on double standards quite regularly, so you can't really be too surprised at it, can you?
True that.
Indeed. Well, I mean, we're coming up on the hour here. I know that Sarah, you said that you had to get going. Is that still the case?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to bounce. But before I go, I want to know if it happens. You guys got John or Tom?
Chase, go ahead.
I'm gonna go ahead and say that John Jones will win the fight. Somehow, some way, I think he's just the dude to do it, and maybe he pulls out his dirtiest tactics to date. And he, the old gloves are back. Anything's possible. John could put as many fingers out as he wants. And we'll see what happens. Tom can't hit what he can't see. And that may be John's plan here.
Yeah, I'm going Tom all the way. Younger, skilled as all get out. I mean, raring for it, wanting the fight. That's, I think, goes a long way. The mentality is something that I put a lot of stock into. And John pulling this whole runaround that he's been pulling for as long as he has, I think is doing himself a disservice more than anything else. If the fight is going to happen, you're only putting more distance and time between yourself and the fight by doing what he is doing currently. He's adding time, he's adding age. I mean, you could say that it's not going to be a huge factor, and it probably won't be the hugest factor, but I think that all of the skills that Tom Aspinall has and what we've seen him do to everyone else in his path so far, I think that it's going to be a lot for John to handle. And I think that Tom is not going to make the same mistakes that a lot of the other guys who have fought John have made, especially when it comes to the heavyweights. I mean, we saw Cyril Gane immediately go into a choke in one of the most, low IQ moments of his career. We saw Stipe, who had a decent fight up until he didn't, but was getting picked apart and didn't recognize that there were adjustments that needed to be made quick enough, I guess you could say, or perhaps wasn't taking the fight as seriously as he should have been, whatever, when it comes to Stipe. But either way, this is not Stipe and this is not Cyril Gane. This is Tom Aspinall, and I think that he wants to be the champ more than anything. So I'm going Tom.
I think you guys are fun. Listen, we just had a whole discussion about people and their false reality skill sets. Tom Aspinall is one of those dudes that's got BJJ apparently.
Bullshit.
He's got BJJ apparently, right? He's got grappling, he's got BJJ, but he's never once been outside the realm of needing to use it, right?
Because he hasn't needed to.
He hasn't needed to, but I think the time's going to come where we're going to have to see some sort of grappling. And if this is going to be the one, John Jones is one of the best grapplers of all time, especially at those big weight classes. Going up to heavyweight, like that puts him in another realm when he's got the grappling. And if he's able to just, slip a shot and just get a waist lock and trip, like the way that he tripped Stipe was so effortlessly, and that's such a massive dude compared to what John has ever been fighting against. And I think it was just super impressive that the technique just stands. Like, it doesn't matter if John's the bigger dude or if Stipe's this fucking firefighter wrestling, rug and tug kind of dude. John Jones was able to get him to the mat, and the entire first round mauled him with elbows. Surprisingly, didn't cut him open until a little cheek bump at the end of the first. But if John is able to get Tom Aspinall to the ground, I'm very eager to see what this elite level BJJ from Tom is going to look like, because it's going to be interesting. That's all I want to say. John Jones is probably the best wrestler that we got. So
comparing Tom Aspinall to Stipe out of the retirement home, this is a false equivalency, my friend.
I mean, but listen, I think what's also key to note is Tom Aspinall didn't finish Andrei Arlovski until the second round. So if he can get out of the first round like Andrei Arlovski did, John Jones, that is, the threat is not there as much because Tom Aspinall had to sub Andrei Arlovski because he wasn't getting anywhere on the feet. John Jones ain't going to get subbed by Tom Aspinall. And if he initiates the grappling, now we're in the wheelhouse where John Jones can do some stuff. Now, granted, if he's on bottom, it's going to be interesting to see what John Jones does against a heavyweight on top of him. But I don't think that's going to necessarily be the case. His wrestling, he's too quick to a sprawl, and he's able to just turn the corner on grappling, get to your back, and the leg sweeps. I'm telling you, the stilts that he's got makes leg sweeps so easy. He can do the inside trip, or he can just do a straight up just trip with just holding your wrist and just flip you over. It's John Jones is just that fucking guy. I don't know why we're going to sit here and do this once again, where we talk about this guy on the up and coming, that he's going to be the guy to dethrone John Jones. I'm going to be the guy saying it's not going to be Tom Aspinall this time. So,
all right. Well, Sarah, last word on it.
I don't believe it. And so I will say, another fighter that I do have inside connections with is Tom Aspinall. So I've gotten to see a lot of his training, and his ground game is fucking impressive. But the thing is,
have you seen him train with Mick Parkin? That's the real question.
There you go. That's the dividing line right there.
I will say, you don't have faith in his grappling because you haven't had to see it much. But with the little insight that I have, I've gotten to see it. And I think it's a lot better than what you're giving him credit for, just because you haven't gotten to see it. And that's okay.
I agree. Listen, I can't believe what I haven't been able to witness yet. Tom Aspinall has been knocking dudes out, and he has been, there have been times where he's been hit clean too, and he has ate those shots, and he's been able to deliver the bigger ones and put them out very early in the fights. What is going to happen when he gets later in the fights? What is his game going to look like? Because obviously outside of the flurry that he's able to throw in the first round, there's more to the game that we have to see inside the cage. So it's going to be interesting to see what develops in a matchup where maybe he's not going to get that first round knockout.
Yeah, and look, I just went on a little tirade about how I'm not putting a lot of stock into people who have this, mythical ground game that we haven't seen yet. So that's not what I'm even basing my opinion on. I'm basing it on the fact that he is younger, hungrier, and a natural heavyweight also. I mean, that to me is one of the bigger factors of all of this. I mean, John going up to heavyweight has not been what people thought it was going to be as far as physique and like overall power, any of that kind of stuff. I mean, like the advancements that are not advancements, but like the improvements that come with heavyweight as far as like the power goes, we haven't really seen that much of that. It's kicking is going to be still powerful as it was at light heavyweight. Heavyweight striking, I'm not sold on that. Tom, well-rounded in all of those regards. So, I mean, if it's staying on the feet, I think Tom has the advantage there. If it goes to the ground, yeah, there's going to be a little bit more of a challenge. But I just think that all of the factors, like in totality, are what I'm looking at as opposed to any one specific thing. And at the end of the day, on top of it all, Father Time comes for us all.
That's what I was going to say is most interesting about this case, is that at a true heavyweight, Tom Aspinall is faster than John Jones moving up from light heavyweight to heavyweight. Like he's a very sluggish striker now. Like when it comes to a straight up boxing, yes, he's more meticulous and he's, trying to set traps up a little more, and he's not throwing stuff out just for the hell of it. But Tom Aspinall is one of the fastest fucking strikers, like especially at heavyweight. Like he can throw so many strikes, and they're all accurate, and they will cause damage. So I think that is what's going to be the thing that sets him aside is how quick is he going to start against John Jones? Like Ciryl Gane does have that same like fast flurry kind of ability, but he wasn't able to engage it. John Jones just went straight in for the waist lock, got him up against the cage. So if Tom Aspinall is able to not let that happen, if he's able to keep it standing in that first round, anything's possible. Like I said, he's way fucking faster. Like the speed is on Tom Aspinall's side, which is crazy. Again, for the dude who's the true slob heavyweight kind of deal versus the skinny, slender, light heavyweight who's moved up. I just think it's gonna be very, very, very interesting, guys. That's just all.
Yeah, I agree. Hopefully it'll happen. I mean, that's what we're all waiting on, right? Is to see if it actually happens or not. I think that this whole game that John has been playing has been quite ridiculous.
It's bullshit.
Yeah, it's a bunch of bullshit, really. I mean, we're all sitting here having to watch our division as far as heavyweight goes just be held up, at gunpoint, essentially. We're having to see Tom Aspinall defend an interim belt possibly multiple times. It's unprecedented. in the sport, essentially. I mean, there may have been other times where a champion has had to defend interim more than once, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. So, this is all ridiculous and just needs to get sorted one way or another. So it's put up or shut up time at this point.
I think what you guys also need to understand is that this in no way is falling onto the other champs. There's no other champs that are sitting there like, well, John Jones is sitting out waiting for his big payday. I know I can get a bigger payday kind of deal. Like when you have people like DDP and Pantoja, like these dudes are they're ready to fight the next guy in line. Pantoja, it's a little difficult because I got to find the next guy in line. But DDP, line them up. I'm ready to fight whoever. There's no waiting for a paycheck. I'm here to solidify myself in the record book. I know John Jones is already there, and unfortunately, it may trickle down into like the next generation. The up and coming guys might have this mindset that they could hold out and get paid more. But as of right now, I think the current champs, they're all doing the best that they can to fight when they're when they're able to. They're all staying active, and they're not letting the BS that the heavyweight, the star, the trailblazer of the sport, whatever you want to say, John Jones, the GOAT, the king of the sport, anything like that. They're not following in his footsteps necessarily to this point. They all understand.
They can't. I mean, that's the difference, though, is that they can't because they're not John Jones. John Jones is in a league of his own based on the aura. And I made an entire video about it on the channel, which I encourage all of you to watch, about John Jones and his connection to his legacy, which is his biggest asset, which is what has enabled all of what we were talking about earlier. All of those things outside of the cage are all enabled by the fact that he is the best of all time. If he does not have that, a lot of things change in his life, which is why I think that people say, and is he scared to fight Tom? I don't think he's scared of the fight with Tom. I think he's scared of the repercussions from the fight with Tom.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that's a good point.
I think he's scared that he might possibly lose. And, then what?
Then he can't blame it on a weekend of cocaine.
Hey, I guess he probably still can. He'll figure out a way. I mean, there's always somebody. There's always a connect.
True.
I mean, he did just beat up a testing person, didn't he?
That was a while ago.
Recently.
And I don't even think it was a beat up. I think he was just like told him to get the fuck out of his house.
Yeah, it's a little bit harsh, perhaps.
Yeah, come on. He's already done plenty. Like, you don't need to spice it up now. Like, you could talk about the stuff he's actually done.
Around a little. No
like, come on. He just hit her with the car. Like,
no big deal.
There you go.
Worse.
Right on. Well, so yeah, I mean, I guess that's. Do you have any other thoughts on it, Sarah?
I don't believe so. I think it is time for me to bounce.
Sounds
all right. Give
right.
another shout out to the channels before you go.
Yeah, plug all your stuff.
Oh Lord! All right, y'all can find me on Snapchat at Sarah Toby 666. You can find me on Instagram at sarah.toby666. Yeah, I have a Discord channel. So if you guys want to check that out, I'll drop the link in the comments. I'll throw it there. But other than that, I appreciate you guys having me.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming on. We appreciate you stopping by and giving us your insights as well. Make sure that you follow Sarah on all of those socials. And yeah, we'll catch up with you again sometime soon, Sarah.
Sounds great. You guys have a good one.
You as well.
We are going to try.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. All right, and there she goes. That's Sarah Toby, everybody. Much appreciated for her stopping by. It was nice to talk some MMA with her. Chase, what else you got?
What else do I got? Nothing really. I mean, this was a good one to have on, like, have her on the call. I think it was some good insight. I think more to come too. I think we were just starting to dive into some good conversations. Obviously, we can get another day where we got some more time. And some more cards. Obviously, we got fights till the end of time. So anytime anybody wants to come in here and think they know ball, we will listen to a lot of different opinions. And I know you guys are in the chat. Shout out Tosh. I didn't give you a fucking shout out. Beeb, of course, and all of you guys. So you just make sure you come in hot with your opinions, because we're definitely looking, especially on the Friday night fun streams, we're looking to give you guys some answers. Sounds like Bill Clinton. I don't know who you were talking about then. Sorry about that one. We missed it. But it was funny at the time. It was funny at the time. I did laugh. I
think that was a Connor comment, regarding him and becoming the president.
Yeah.
But
yeah, so
Yeah, well, come into the chat. Definitely, let us know what your thoughts are when we have these Friday shows for sure. I know I don't want to necessarily say that we're going to be opening the the stream
No,
to
open
all
the call
comers.
lines. Open the call lines. We'll
I've been
get you
thinking about
guys.
trying to get an actual call line set up for this show for a while. So we'll have to see if we can figure that out. There's some hurdles that you have to jump through to make that happen, but it might be worth it to set that up and let you guys speak your piece a little bit. Make sure you keep it TOS friendly. Of course, we don't want to get this thing taken down, but either which way, I mean, I guess that'll about do it for tonight. I don't know. I mean,
Is there anything else to talk about? I mean, we can run down some more stuff. There's obviously more things going
I
on
mean,
in the MMA world.
I was gonna say if you're down to chill for a little while, I mean, I certainly can as well. What else you got?
Mokaev is actually gonna compete in karate combat. Everybody, I
Karate
don't know if you
combat
guys knew this.
Mokaev.
Yep,
Yeah.
Mohamed Mokaev is making his debut on Karate Combat. We are unsure if it's actually going to be a Karate Combat bout or if it's going to be a pit grappling match. But
they can't have him pick grappling in his first time in Karate Combat, can they? Come on, bro. He's a star.
Kaio and Brendan Allen, Bryce Mitchell.
Yeah, but I think that for him, with his set of circumstances, that would be a miscalculation. Unless he's in a contract with Brave, which I think is where he was fighting. Like, unless he's got some kind of dispute there where he can't do MMA, where he can't do, contact combat. I mean, like, I think that it would be a grave miscalculation to have someone like Mokaev not throwing hands.
Yeah, what I also think is important is like, you got to recognize most of the people that are on Karate Combat, this is like their introduction to a combat sport kind of deal. Some of the people are debut MMA record 0-0 type shit. If Mokaev goes out there and he actually has an opponent that is going to be a can, most likely, does anybody actually want to see him compete in the actual Karate Combat? Because he's probably going to smoke him like easily. Like
they gave it to Robellis.
Yeah, but that's
Same
different.
thing.
But they
Yeah,
know
why?
they know he's not like able to compete somewhere else. Like, like that we've watched him get
Robellis
smoked in
is
the
signed
UFC.
he's signed to the GFL, sir.
True, you are not lying there. We still got to keep up on when that's
And
happening.
I was literally just going to say, let me see if I can find it. GFL did announce the date for their first show. So go ahead and talk a little bit more about Mokaev while I look that up, though.
Yeah, so I just think do we really think it's a good idea to throw him against somebody that he's just going to wheel kick in the first round? Yes, that would be cool, but he's already got the height. This isn't somebody that you need to throw him a feeder fight for. I think the grappling makes sense because, I mean, he's a grapple guy. It's a grappling kind of, there is grappling available. And, his grappling resume, he's probably an average grappler when it comes to just grappling or, great, good level. So there's other people comparable to that rather than trying to find somebody, okay, who can strike with Mokaev? Like, I don't know. That's just the way that I see it. Finding a grappler for him is easier than finding a striker for him.
I mean, if they can find people to feed to Robellis at the weight that he's fighting at, I would think that there are plenty of smaller guys that they could probably do the same with.
We actually didn't even get to the most important topic. Is the super heavyweight class in Karate Combat a thing of the past?
All right. Well, I mean, do you want to explain why that's such a topic of discussion here?
I don't even know why it's a topic of discussion, because it's funny that Karate Combat just now decided to ask, because it seemed late last year is when Robellis made his Karate Combat debut, I believe. And they created a weight class for him called the super heavyweights, which doesn't make any sense because it's just the normal weight, like heavyweight weight class. So their heavyweights was 205 kind of deal. Then Robellis gets made this super heavyweight class. Well, come a couple of days ago, Karate Combat tweets out a poll for, do we want to get rid of the super heavyweight class or should we keep it? And it's like, I kind of like the community interaction. Like, what do you guys think deal of it? But it's also like, you decided this already. You didn't ask us like, hey, do you guys think Robellis should not have to cut weight or in technicality, have a different class kind of deal? And it's like, maybe we wouldn't have cared, or maybe we actually would have gave an opinion. But the fact that you've already done it and you're only like 5 months into it, it's like, that's it. That was the pool of the super heavyweights is what I'm getting at. If you want us to continue, guys, we'll keep looking. But as of right now, you're seeing what you're going to get every time kind of deal.
Well, but I don't even think that that's the bigger overarching issue here. The overarching issue is that they're asking this question while also presenting to the public that they're going to have events and then not putting those events on.
Well, all right, there's another topic that we can talk about.
That's what I was talking about.
If you go to the Karate Combat website and you look at their scheduling, they still have an event marked for March saying coming soon. Now, presumably they had an idea that they were going to have a March event. And just like last month, they were waiting until they were able to put all the pieces together, which happened to be the last fucking week of the month type of deal. Here we are on Friday, the last Friday of the month, which is normally when Karate Combat would do their cards. And there is no March event taking place. No word on why not. No word on if any fighters were ever scheduled for it. No bouts taking place that didn't, anything like that. Nothing of the sort. And it's just funny and interesting that are they laying the tracks as the train goes, or was something actually in play? Was it just a poker night? Like that we've looked on their site and they have poker events. There's some soccer betting that you can do. It's like, what was supposed to happen in March that didn't? And why did it not? Was the March coming soon that they were making the arena? Maybe not, but sure, I guess that's what we have to go with. Like maybe the arena comes out on the 30th and they're like, hey, there's the March event. Like we just created a thing, but I doubt it. So they're a weird company. It's hard to keep up with. If you think keeping up with the UFC is hard for how little they promote like the schedule and the time for the events and stuff like that, Karate Combat is 10 times worse because you don't even know what's happening. You don't even know how they're running a business. Like it doesn't even add up. Like none of the numbers make sense. None of the promotions make sense. None of the people you see at the event makes sense. None of the, like nobody that's talking on the commentator's booth is anybody that's relevant. Like I don't know.
Hey, all right. Well,
okay, Baz Rutten and fucking GSP,
let's
but
Mike
Jaloviak and Longboat and all these guys. It's like, where do you fit into like combat sports? Where is this crypto party fitting into the timeline of mixed martial arts?
Right. I mean, that's really the big thing here with Karate Combat is that they place so much stock on the crypto aspect of everything that it becomes a little all encompassing. And then you have a business surrounding that. So it becomes even more mysterious, essentially, is what I'm kind of getting out of everything. Because as Chase was kind of outlining just there, it's the fact that they're asking questions about like what we should do as far as naming a division goes when they're announcing events that are not happening. To me, it seems similar to like washing the dishes while the Titanic is going down kind of thing. I'm not saying that they're going down. I'm just saying that it's like, your priorities need to be in place a little bit more. And you can never get an accurate read on what the behind the scenes are looking like with a promotion like that. And then you add the crypto aspect into everything. Crypto complicates everything. I mean, that's just a tried and true reality of life in 2025 is that you bring crypto into anything, it's going to get a lot more complicated in one way or another. So you have a whole company that is predicated on crypto because they really are. I mean, like if you look at a Karate Combat broadcast, every sponsor is crypto related. Every advertisement is crypto related. Every fight has crypto elements to it as far as betting goes, and them wanting you to use the karate token and this only up system that they have, which they've explained in white papers, but it's still a little bit complicated to me. I've watched an entire video on it, and I'm still
still waiting on CoffeeZilla to help us out.
Bro, CoffeeZilla, where are you, brother? Respond to our tweets, my guy. But so anyway, I mean, like I like the Karate Combat product, and it's also homegrown here in the state of Florida. So I've been wanting to get out to an event for a while. I'm going to try to catch one when there is one to be caught. But the point is just that it's an odd sort of nebulous kind of presentation with everything, even though at the forefront of it, it all looks good. The broadcasts look good. You can talk about the quality of the commentating and this kind of stuff. Overall, I'd say it's a pretty decently run show. Behind the scenes, who knows?
Well, and that's another point that I'm gonna get into is behind the scenes, who knows what's going on? Because I personally reached out on Twitter to get some information on where sponsorship information is, where to talk to somebody that is going to get me in the right place where we can get some sort of Karate Combat promotion. And I get responded to by this account. I won't say it's random, but it was. And he's like, I can connect you. And I'm like, okay, cool. Well, let's see what you got. So I message him like, okay, well, where can you connect me? Who do I need to speak to? And he's like, well, what questions did you have? It's like, dog, you were not even there yet. I don't even know who you are. So the fact that he is coming to the aid of this company and he thinks that he's, ready to set me up with some information that's going to help me further the question that I had originally. And then he comes up and he says he's fucking co-founder, which I don't even believe, because listen, that's a weird fucking thing to throw out, especially for somebody who's just like not making it known that they are affiliated with Karate Combat, that they are even like, the Twitter page has nothing to do with Karate Combat other than the link to their fucking website. I can put the link to the website on my fucking page if I wanted to. So this whole thing with Karate Combat, there's so many things going on with it. We got weird little circles of people who think that they're affiliated. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. They have not proven such to me. So I'm going to go ahead and say that this is some weird stuff going on, just like everything else surrounding Karate Combat. Why would it make sense when nothing does,
That he hasn't proven it yet, but this is the TLDR of the situation, is that Chase puts the call out to the world, and then some essential rando basically comes back and is now speaking on behalf of the organization, which I love. I think that this is the most entertaining rabbit hole that we could be going down as far as the podcast goes. So Chase is in talks with this individual currently. He outlined where the talks have gotten to, but I mean, I think that this could be a very entertaining story one way or another. I'm waiting to hear what the credentials come back that this person actually has, because we still don't know who what his name is or what his actual affiliation is.
And again, to the mystery of Karate Combat, he says he's co-founder. When you look up co-founder, it comes up a guy, right? I don't remember his fucking name, but it also says he's just the founder. And then when you go on Karate Combat's website, it says founder and it's the same name, but then the first sentence literally says he's the co-founder. Who's the other founder, whatever the fucking word is? Who is there on the other end of it? And like, why are we not able to know that information? Why is it just the co-founder? Where may say that, they founded this together. God damn. And I don't know. There's just too many things that just, you would think it would be simple, but the way that they have it set up is like, you're just not supposed to be able to find the answer. It's like, how does the Karate Combat coin work? And it's like, well, it's just only up program. It's like, well, what's that? It's like, well, it just goes only up. And it's like, oh, great. Okay. So who runs it? It's like, I don't know, Longboat. It's like, who's Longboat? I don't fucking know. He's just a guy that's there. And it's like, you can ask so many questions and you're never going to get the answer. Like it's really interesting. And I think GFL is interesting for a similar reason. It's like, what is going on? But the fact that Karate Combat is fully functional at the time makes it more interesting that there's so many unknown questions going on.
Absolutely, yes. A shout out to Loudmouth, who is the crypto guy. We call him Longboat because Chase got the name mixed up one night, and he
wears a captain's hat, so it makes sense to me.
Yes, it made me laugh quite heartily, calling this guy Longboat. So forever he will be Longboat to us. But yeah, no, you're exactly right, Jason. I mean, it's one of those types of deals, and you see this in MMA. I mean, this goes back, if we're talking MMA history here a little bit, this goes back to like the like Elite XC, or not Elite XC, to like Affliction, those types of organizations when they were doing promotions and stuff like that. These smaller organizations that pop up trying to make something happen or whatever. Now, I mean, granted, the landscape has changed entirely since then, so it's a lot different now, but we're seeing a lot of various levels of success with organizations that have funding from where and from who, and how is it all organized, and where is it coming and where is it going to? And then with Karate Combat, you bring crypto into the equation, and that makes it its own thing. So, I mean, it's a lot of unknowns when it comes to this stuff. And I mean, I'm connected to a decent amount of Karate Combat's staff, like a bunch of like the, kind of ground level workers in Karate Combat. And they all seem like pretty, standard stand-up individuals, just professionals and whatnot. But it's like, there are so many layers to it. And that seems to be how a lot of these organizations are run, where it's like, your standard person that you're going to talk to is just your average person. They're out there doing their job like anybody else. It's just when you go up the ladder, it's like it starts getting more and more murky towards the top. And by the time you're up at the actual top, who the hell knows what's going on there? So you mentioned GFL. I did bring up the GFL card information here. So I guess we'll transition over to that real quick. another organization where the higher up you go, the more nebulous it becomes.
Actually, one last thing I want to note
Sure.
is like the karate combat.
Mhm.
It doesn't feel like when you look at the UFC, it's like, okay, you can feel that Dana and his group, they run it. Like that's them. With karate combat, it doesn't feel like there's suits in an office running it. Like it literally just feels like the crypto bros, they got a hold of an arena and they just put on fights. Like because
Well, I
there's
think
so
that
many things that go on. Like there's like mini art shows, there's fucking dances.
that
Like
is true.
there's a lot of things that they do for the fan service for the people actually in the arena, that it's not just a video playing on a jumbotron. Like it's it's real, and it's something more unique to the environment itself.
Well, yeah, but I think that's specifically because they didn't have a person, or don't currently at least have like the face of the organization type of person.
Dana Brown.
Exactly. Well, Dana Brown, I guess. Yeah, that is the de facto one for right now. The guy who goes by Dana Brown in the organization. A little play on Dana White. But so it's like they don't have. I guess they do have it in him to an extent, but like that's why Dana White exists in part, is because you want that like figurehead of an organization. That's what Don Davis is supposed to be at PFL. But then the rest of the business is run so ridiculously, yet they have Saudi money. That's a whole nother story. But you know what I'm saying? It's like, having that is like, to a business like this, is kind of important. Maybe they'll have that in this Dana Brown fellow. If we could actually remember his real name, that'd be helpful.
No, it's just Dana Brown, dude.
But that's my
Fuck it.
point. You know what I mean? It's like, if we don't know who, like, you're not doing a good enough job of being that if we're calling you Dana Brown,
Let's see. If you type in Dana Brown, it does not come up with him. All right. Well,
Really? I thought that was his Twitter handle.
There's a baseball player named Dana Brown, apparently.
No, all right, fair enough. But either way, I mean, the idea is that if you're going to have a figurehead, that's what you want it to be, is like the recognizable, identifiable face of the business kind of thing. So I understand where you're coming from with that. When it comes to karate combat, PFL has it. GFL kind of has it in that that dude. I forgot what his name. I always forget
Ray
his
Longo.
name. No, not Ray Longo. Although, I mean, Ray Longo is somehow involved as a team captain or something, right?
Yeah, he's a team captain, or was at one point manager.
No, what's that guy's name? The dude who was on with Ariel. GFL. I always want to call him Damon, but it's not. It's something.
Damon
else.
Brown. Gotcha. Damon
Yes,
Green.
there you go. Damon Martin, I think is. Yeah, there you go. I think that's his name. But anyway, so as far as GFL goes, since we're talking about it, they did announce
the fight.
Yeah, they announced the first card. GFL won, so they're coming in with wishful thinking that there's going to be more than one of this. But
actually, to stop you real quick,
sure,
GFL is missing out on a really crucial part of promoting these events, and I think bare knuckle boxing has got it down. Knuckle Mania. You have to have a moniker that goes with it. It's like, it's not GFL 1, it's GFL, Havoc at the beat, whatever you want to say. Like, it's got to be something that people will be like, man, we got to, Knuckle Mania sounds like, man, we got to go see Knuckle Mania. That sounds like something going on.
And if you're going to call it something like that, you better deliver like Knuckle Mania delivered, because that was fucking fantastic.
And, I mean, I know it's not the promotion, not the name of the event, but like Dirty Boxing as well, too. It's like, it lives up to the name and it puts something for you to expect. It's like, when you go to a GFL, if I told people I'm watching the GFL this weekend, 50% of them are going to ask if that's soccer, so.
Yep. Fair. All right. So let's run this thing down real quick. GFL 1. The main event is Uriah Faber versus Renan Barão 3. That is, I mean, that's what they're billing. The full event name is GFL 1 Faber versus Barão 3. It is taking place on Saturday, May 24th. So not too far away. It's going to be at the Shrine Auditorium in Los Angeles, California. And the main card is as follows. Of course, the main event, as I said, Uriah Faber versus Renan Barão 3. Co-main is Anthony Pettis versus Benson Henderson 3. Holly Holm versus Julia Budd. Chad Mendes versus Mikey Linares. Not a name that I was immediately familiar with, but could be an old school guy that I'm just not remembering. Derek Brunson versus Omari Akhmedov. Sage Northcutt versus Lucas Martins. Marlon Moraes versus Ray Borg. It's a decent fight. Aspen Ladd versus Alejandra Lara. Robelis to Spain versus Todd Duffy. You got to be kidding me that fight is happening. That's crazy. Kat Zingano versus Alexa Connors. Naaman Gracie versus Danny Roberts. Jessica Penne versus Joyce Mara. Charles Rosa versus Kumoyan Tech Tomaradov. Tech Tomaradov.
Sounds like he's got grip strength. I'll tell you
Yeah.
that.
Melissa Messer Valencia versus Kelly Sadden, and Gleason Tebow versus Alex Cowboy Oliveira. So a couple of old school names that you might know on there, a bunch that you probably have not heard of. A couple.
Did I
of
not
these,
hear Dylan and Tony?
Apparently not on this card.
I
Yeah.
thought that was going to be the main event of this one.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's maybe they're lining up for their second event.
What I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, please.
What I think is also to note is that this event obviously is taking place during a break for the UFC. What is that going to mean going forward? Because they're going to get this week where everybody has nothing to do, and they're going to be like, all right, I guess we're checking out the GFL. Now they got all these inflated numbers because nothing else is going on. Then they go to GFL 2, and then they're going to start to wonder where everybody went. It's like, well, we decided to go watch the actual sports at the time, So
no, I mean, I think that's pretty standard, though. It makes sense that they would do it that way, hoping to bait people with the first event. They got to, I mean, depending on how you look at it, at least they've got some decent names on it. Decent, at least at a time, 10 years ago, perhaps. But either way, they have somewhat recognizable names on it. So hopefully the thought process at least is that you come in, you see this event when the UFC is not going on. Maybe they switch the days up to middle of the week. That's what, really, if any promoters out there are listening, this is your golden ticket here, is to throw your event on a Thursday. Throw it somewhere away from the weekend. Our weekends are tied up. We are going to be watching UFC if you throw it on a Saturday, and Fridays are starting to get taken up by some other promotions as well. If you really want to make a stamp on this thing, put your event on a Tuesday and promote the fuck out of it.
I want to make note also that I was actually going to ask, what is the rule system in GFL? Because you named a lot of fights, but surely this can't be a 7-8 hour event like UFC. I'm assuming the timing is going to be different for the matches because they're a lot older and stuff. I am on the website. There is not a spot for the rule set. But when I went on the website, I vaguely remembered that I signed up for their exclusive content, latest updates and announcements. Never received one single email. I have yet to see anything from the GFL in my inbox.
Marketing department.
Let's actually double check. Maybe in the spam folder. Maybe spam folder,
Well, while you check it out, I mean, this is the big what if when it comes to the GFL. What if they actually are able to put an event on? They're trying to answer that one. What if the event is actually successful? Maybe they beef up the rest of everything else. Maybe then you'll start getting emails. Perhaps. I don't know how many people are working for this organization, period. This is going to be one of my tasks for the week, I think, is what I'm going to have to do, is to start digging in, because, I'm pretty savvy on getting to the inside when it comes to, like, at least as far as the public can get when it comes to the business side of the sport. So, like, I'm going to start doing a little bit of digging on the GFL and see if I can actually find any information that might make sense to the conversation. But as of right now, like, what is their actual structure looking like? We're talking about it with Karate Combat. At least I can tell you for a fact that Karate Combat has a marketing department. It has production staff. It has broadcast staff, as far as like the technical side of the broadcasts go. It has commentators. I can tell you all of that stuff. When it comes to the GFL, I can tell you that there's one person that I've seen talking about it. He's the main guy. He's the face that we were talking about earlier in the stream. And that's it. They've got a bunch of fighters. They've got the main guy. I assume they have a matchmaker. Other than that, what's there? What is this whole organizational structure looking like?
I don't know if this was here. And you're talking about the structure and stuff, and I think this is important going into it. If you're on your website and you go to the About Us, I'm pretty sure this is new, where it's got a little mission statement.
Okay.
So GFL athletes become true equitable partners with 50% of all event revenue sources going directly to them. In addition, the GFL is contributing 8% of each athlete's purse. That's pretty interesting. Into a retirement fund, and 2% contribution going towards insurance. So, whoa. Wait, they got to pay insurance for this shit?
Oh yeah, well that's one of the big selling points of the league in the first place is that they're going like that's one of the things that they sold this league as is that they're going to be righting the wrongs of the current structure in the sport when it comes to how athletes are treated. That was one of their big selling points. Oh, we're going to treat the athletes more fairly. It's going to be a better cut, a better split as far as profits go. Have a retirement fund, as you mentioned there, insurance as well, and a post-career support.
I also think what's key to note, and maybe we can look into this a little more to find what this dude is actually a part of, because it says leadership team, and it's got this dude named Darren Owen, co-founder and
Darren
acting
Owen, that's yeah.
Yeah, and acting commissioner. It says he's been a part of multiple growing MMA organizations globally. I would be curious to see what he's been a part of.
Well, I have a story for you. I'm glad you brought that up. I was going to save this one for a different stream, but you got it out of me here. So, a little insight on this Darren Owen gentleman. He actually was involved in a golf-related broadcasting endeavor. It was like the Golf Channel, but it wasn't the Golf Channel. And apparently, this organization, I don't know how they got the funding for it, but apparently we're putting a very large amount of funds into it initially. Like wherever the money came from, it was getting put all directly into this product. How that money ended up being spent, however, was apparently by decking out their office to be the most extravagant offices you have ever seen in your life. Apparently this was like, from what I was told, and I got to be a little bit careful about how I speak about this because for reasons, but apparently there were a number of very expensive items in this office. He said it looked like the most high, like state-of-the-art kind of facility that you could walk into. It was a lavish facility that these guys had as their office, essentially to bring people in and wow them with. This project didn't end up ever getting off the ground. They never launched this broadcast network. And in fact, one of the people involved, it was this Owens person and then one other person. And I believe it was the other person actually got brought in front of, I want to say might have been brought in front of Congress over this. Like it was like there were legal troubles one way or another. Maybe the Congress thing might be an exaggeration, but there were a lot of legal ramifications because of how this was operated, ended up going into the ground. And I guess this Darren Owens person was able to escape unscathed. So that's my little inside information on that.
So keep an eye on this dude's stories. If he posts himself up with his feet on the desk of some crazy looking office, we know exactly what type of shit he's doing. It wasn't his buddy the first time. He was just the one that got away with it. Darren Owen, I'm keeping an eye on you, buddy.
If you see a very expensive motorcycle in a glass case, you heard it here first.
Nice. Okay, there we go. Good deal.
All right, that's all I'm going to say about that.
So yeah, I mean, GFL's one of those interesting things. Also, a new thing on the page that they have press releases is a thing on there.
Yeah. What's the press saying?
The Silverside AI named official AI innovation partner for Global Fight League. That was on February 4th, so we're about a month out of any press release. And yeah, that's the newest thing. Oh, the draft, of course, that happened. And yeah, none of these are important.
Well, I wonder how AI is going to be integrated in. I mean, are they talking about an AI partner for stats keeping or for, I don't know, strike power or like, what's the AI component? Does it say?
AI as GFL's official AI partner, Silverside will leverage cutting-edge artificial intelligence to create innovative content and experiences for Fighters League inaugural season. What I'm actually curious about, and I could be wrong here, is Silverside the company that just merged with Endeavor?
No, I know, but it is Silver something though.
Endeavor announces Silver Lake. Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, similar names, but no, Silverside AI. I'm looking into this a little bit myself over here. About us, let's see. founded as an
Oh
AI.
gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay. The GFL draft, which shared AI generated athlete walkouts created using Minimax AI
Ah.
technology with a custom music track titled Six Sides of the Cage. The campaign will also include videos introducing the identities for individual teams launching later this year.
So yeah, okay. So it's going to be like AI walkout. I don't know, animations. I guess maybe they're the company that did the promo video at the start of the draft.
No, that's what they're
Oh,
they
that's.
are.
I'm sorry. Did I miss that? Yeah. Okay.
No,
Gotcha.
that was definitely them doing this. I if people were ever worried about AI taking people's jobs and taking over, I mean, maybe they were right to have that assumption because here goes the AI company getting hired, and it's maybe 7 people, and they're probably just got a system that works.
I mean, I think it's supplemental though. I mean, because like, what would they have been like? I mean, if they're going to do an animated intro, then yeah, I guess maybe it would have been a bigger team before that. But you still need people to run the AI stuff. So
Well, and I actually was going to get to an even better point. It's like with jobs like that being taken, quote unquote, if that's the way you want to think about it, that just opens up more jobs like this, where we get to, put out a product and content that people will be engaged with, and then eventually be able to build sponsorships and monetization upon that. And I think that's what the inevitable outcome should be for everybody at this point, especially with how the job market's looking. People are not able to get jobs as easy as they are. So you guys got to come up with something interesting and get stuff going.
that's right. And make sure that if you're out there listening now, that you're subscribed to the channels because, this is real. We are legitimate flesh and blood human beings. And your content is already in parts being hijacked. I actually got taken in by an AI video not too long ago. It took me a little while to recognize that it was AI, but for a little minute there, I started like, it was on in the background. I just was listening along and I was like, okay, this and that. And all of a sudden I'm like, I think this is AI. And then, yeah, I found out that it was. And I'm like, man, it's getting better and better every day. So stick with the real.
Well, another one, and this is in partner with the UFC, so it could be a telling thing that's coming soon. Is I was watching WWE the other night, and they had a promo for it was a fake fighter. It was called the Grande Americano, and it was an American luchador, and it was a full AI video of this fake character or whatever. And the reason I thought it was funny at the time is because in the video they talk about where he is from, and they show a picture of the map, and it's got the Gulf of America. And I was like, wow, Trump, works really fucking fast. If WWE had the AI video ready to go,
Right.
So it is becoming more prevalent. You see a lot of AI stuff everywhere. Another example, when I started to look into shipping companies for the shirts or whatever, there is a site out there called Pirate Ship, and it is a full AI website with AI reviews, AI pictures of people for the reviews. And I wasn't even sure, like, is this actually a real thing? Like, it looked so unreal that like maybe it is, because that's just how times are. It's like you can get a whole site made with AI pictures that's saving time for you to take a picture of your grandma and post a fake comment. I don't know. It's just all over, and I think it is interesting to note.
Absolutely. And, I mean, this again, though, that's why you got to stick with the actual human beings if that's what you want. I mean, some people, I guess, are going to be more comfortable with it than others. But when it comes to the type of content that you consume, I would think that you'd want at least a tangible human connection with it. So, stick with the real.
Facts. Yeah. I another example. I have a dude, and we talk at work, and he talks about this AI thing called Sona or something like that. And he makes a lot of music there. And he's like, I just tell it to make all this music that I want. And then he does explain, he's trying to tell me, he's like, but you have to have the idea. You have to make the computer do what you're thinking. So it's not necessarily the AI doing everything, which is a good argument. It's not necessarily being done all by itself, but when you get some things in life and you're able to just put a little hard work into it, man-made, it's a little different than something that you just type a few keys into and it pops out something. Like,
Yeah.
it's got to be, there's something special in the imperfections of humanity.
Definitely that. And also my counter to that is always that, like, yeah, you have to give it a prompt, but all of what that AI is trained on is the work of actual people. And I hope that all of those people are being paid. I mean, I hope that all of those people are being credited. That's a big controversy, not controversy, I guess, or like a growing concern in the AI space. There was actually, I watched a video not too long ago about a whistleblower in the AI space who actually got assassinated, they're saying, because he was going to be blowing the lid off of, like, when it comes to copyrights and how a certain AI company was handling their copyrights and not accrediting people that they were training their models on and all this kind of stuff. He was going to be making a lot of problems for a very profitable company, and he is no longer with us because of it. So, it's a big deal when it comes to that. And if you are in the creative field, it's definitely concerning in that regard. I think that you try to use it judiciously if you're going to use it. And other than that, as a consumer, like I said, just Chase is exactly right. You're exactly right. I mean, just there's a beauty in reality. That's why we connect to it.
Yeah, you guys, listen. I ain't got to be the one to tell you that you all can do something special, and it don't have to be from a computer. You can do something that people will engage with, whatever that special something is that you got. I mean, you can make it something, and it doesn't have to be artificial. It can be straight from the heart, man.
There you go. Little Yama motivation for you on the Friday free for all. We got any other MMA to talk about?
No, I think we're just gonna keep getting into motivational speeches if we don't cut it. So
yeah, for real. Believe, conceive, achieve. People, make sure you
hell
do
yeah,
that.
dream, believe, and make it happen. Since
There
we're
you
coming up on
go.
Diego's fight week soon.
I want to tell you something strange, Chase, and I'm not. I'm going to say this, and I know how this is going to sound. Okay, I had a dream about Diego Lopez.
It happens.
It
It
was,
happens.
it was very strange to me when I woke up. Nothing dirty or anything
Right,
like that.
right,
But
right.
the dream was, and I don't know why, it's dream logic, but he was fighting Volk in the dream. It was taking place on railroad tracks. Again,
Nice.
I don't understand any of this, but he beats Volk. Everything else is normal about this dream. Like the announcements are going. I'm hearing all of this, and I'm standing there watching this fight, and it's just the two of them, nothing else around, no train or anything, just them on railroad tracks fighting this fight. And Diego Lopez wins the fight, and I go over to him and I say, "Diego, you're the champion now." And he just kind of gives me that Diego Lopez smile and nod.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Yeah, okay, I'm gonna go celebrate with my team now." And I was like, by all means, go do it. I don't know what it means. I'm just telling you that it happened. Take it for what it is.
Well, I would like to just make a note. We didn't actually bring it up because I'm obviously my dreams weren't as accurate as maybe they could be. So we're 0 for 1 on the dreams. I thought Jordan was gonna be the one to finish Chris
Oh, right.
Duncan. That did
Yeah.
happen in my dream. It didn't happen the way that I was dreaming it. So maybe that's a sign. Maybe we'll go 0 for 2. Maybe Volk is the one leaving those train tracks that day,
Well, I mean, look, we've talked about it a little bit already, but when it comes to Volk, I mean, do you think that there's still something there when it comes to what was versus what is, right? That's the
I,
argument here.
I would like to believe that I'm a pretty big Volk fan, but
Same. Oh, yeah.
I can surely promise you that I'm not the biggest Volk fan ever. Like I've only seen a handful of his fights. Like I've only been around for the latter portion of his championship reign up and until the point where his reign is over and there's 2 back-to-back losses after that. I think it is just going to be one of those hard things for me to admit that I think Diego is going to have every advantage going into this. However, it has always been my mindset that Volkanovski on a full camp is something like Batman. You give him time to prep and he's able to figure it out. And if Diego Lopez is going to be, the opposition, I think Volk's going to have a pretty good game plan considering the people that he trains with are not often good at different game plans. He's very good at actually fighting a fight that is in front of him. He doesn't just fight the kickboxing, style that everybody else in his camp does. I think Volk is able to do a lot of great things. Is he able to do that after he gets punched in the face by a nuclear missile that comes from Diego's hands? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, having a lot more time seeing Volk's fights and watching the progression, I think that Volk is the prototype of how a dominant champion's career goes. And he's already on the other side of the slope when it comes to that. Sad to say, because I am a huge fan. Vitz King, huge fan.
Yeah. How can you not root for a guy like that? You
Exactly.
know?
I mean, he's a great guy. Everybody wants to have a beer with Volk. We all know this. And I want to see him win, but seeing what we've seen, even with a full camp now, I just think that he is the prototype for the curse of 34, right? I mean, 34, 36,
35, I think is
whatever, between 34 and 36 is generally the age of when a champion is going to start falling off. And I mean, he's been consistently showing that this is where he's at now. And I mean, I just think that you have to trust what your eyes are telling you a lot of the time when it comes to these guys. Now, it's not unheard of that he could have a career resurgence even this late. That could certainly be the case. I just think that all of the signs that we have been seeing throughout the trajectory now are showing us that that's not going to be the case.
I hate to, but I in the back of my mind, I do want to be that one person who does have hope. Like, if anybody's going to be the guy to break a curse, if anybody's going to be the guy to win the belt after 2 vicious knockouts, like, I'd pick Volk out of the lineup, kind of deal. Like, he would, and I do understand it's like you can only get so well rounded to a point. Like, there's going to be a lot of fighters who I think could, pull off any win if it came down to it, because they're just well rounded and they have all the facets to the game. Volk does have all of those, but at the end of the day, there's disadvantages on his end. His age, the athleticism that he's obviously going to have declining with his age. And the most recent bouts that he's had, coming off of knockouts, coming off of the alcohol, whatever the case may be. It's just hard for me to pick Volk, but I would really love to believe that if anybody's going to be able to do something like this, like even with Islam, if anybody was going to be the dude to get double champ status off of a dude that is feared for the next 3 years, Volk would be that guy. And honestly, at the time, even still standing, Volk questionably won. I agree. Listen, I will say that Volk is, in my opinion, a double champ for as long as it goes on, because it should have been, in my opinion, even rewatching it. But
really,
oh, for sure, he won 3, 4, 5. He's like, no bias aside, the first 2 rounds are questionable. Volk is, we're not going to get into it, but I think if anybody's able to do anything on any day's notice, Volk is that guy who will step up on one day's notice, and he may not win, but he's at least going to give it a try.
I definitely agree. Yeah, if there's going to be someone who can do it, it certainly is him. I'm very skeptical that that's going to be the case. So if that, thinking this through, because this was an exercise that we went through on Fight Show when I was on it, and I thought that it's a good mental exercise when it comes to evaluating these fights. If we're thinking that Volk does have the potential to win this fight, then what is the method? How does he get it done? Because I mean, we're talking about Diego Lopez here, who, like you said, it could be the cannon from the hands, but it also could be on the ground with him. He's got good ground game too.
Yeah, but that, from the dude. Okay, so Brian Ortega is, the sub guy of that division. At least that's everybody's opinion. Is he once he gets you in, you're done. And Volk was able to escape 2 really vicious chokes from him. Yeah. So I think the sub, I mean, it is live. Anything's possible. Anybody can get caught and just make the wrong move, and like their arm tweaks the wrong way or whatever, tap. But Volk has shown me time and time again, especially when it comes to him being on the ground, he knows how to get a dominant position, and he knows not, like, I'm trying to think of the best way to explain it. He doesn't make risky moves. Like, you've never sat here and been like, all right, Volk, pull your arm out, get your arm out of there. Like, he's throwing his legs. Volk is just not in that position because he's just dominating on the ground. Like, he gets to his base, he gets a good strong base, and he just unloads body, head, just raining punches. Yair Rodriguez, I know that's not Diego Lopez, but I think something similar could happen if Volk is able to just get Diego out of his rhythm and just put a beat down on him outside. Listen, outside the first round, anything's possible in Volk's corner.
So then what's the actual answer? Then you're thinking
TKO. TKO, ground and pound. TKO, ground and pound.
All right, man. I mean,
if Volk's gonna do it,
right?
If Volk's gonna do it, that's the way that I see it happening.
Okay, I'm with that. I think that that's a pretty fair assessment of what could happen if it's going to happen at all. I just think that you hear me every week. I want to say, like on last week's fights, saying how like if this guy comes out the gate hot, that he has a better shot of winning the fight. Diego Lopez is one of the fighters that actually delivers in that regard. And that's why I'm like, I mean, I've been a fan of his for a while for numerous reasons, but like that's certainly one of the higher ones of them because in the Brian Ortega fight, now granted, he caught him with the first shot of the fight. That's not always going to happen.
That was going to be a fucking flat line too if he didn't wake him up with the second one.
True. So, I mean, the point stands. It's like, whether or not it was a lucky shot, it wasn't, but you know what I'm saying? Like whether or not it was just the right place on the button or whatever, like the fact that he came out with that intention early in the fight like that was what dictated the entire rest of the fight. So I'm thinking that if he can do something similar, I mean, it doesn't have to be exactly the same. He can navigate for a little bit, you got to be careful with an opponent like Volk, but that's where my head is at, is that, I appreciate fighters that have the urgency to win the fight from the start of the fight. Like go in there with the intention to win from the start, because that's already going to give you an advantage over a person that's trying to feel out distance. And I mean, like obviously there's going to be different circumstances in different times. Sometimes you do need to feel out the distance, whatever. My point is that like, if you have that urgency underneath your skill set, you're always going to be in a little bit of an advantage compared to a guy that's sitting back and waiting.
Yeah, I hear you. This one will be interesting because Diego is definitely not the type to sit back and wait. He's going to bring the fight to him immediately, and how Volk is going to react is going to be interesting because remember, I mean, he made it a pretty decent amount of time before Ilya tracked him down. So if he's able to do his evasive maneuver on the outside and not get cornered into the cage, even though Diego isn't a type of dude that's going to pound you into the cage type of deal, it's a different beast. And I think, I don't know, maybe I'm leaning a little more Volk after I kind of talk it, but Diego is that guy, and he is one of the up and coming new talents, the new era. This is how quickly the guard changes.
Exactly. And like I said about John, time gets everyone. It just does. It's the nature of the beast. It's very, very infrequent that you can have a person buck that trend. So yeah. Well, what else? Anything else that you want to get to? I mean,
we can call it. We can call it.
We've been going for a little while here. We went for another whole hour after we had our guest, so that was a little bit of all kinds of winding and weaving here on the Friday Free for All. So yeah, well, we appreciate everybody who's been hanging out with us. Thanks a lot to Beeb. Tosh was checking in. Sigma in charge. Hey, Rage Quit. Thank you, bro. Hey, forgot to shout you out earlier, my man. Appreciate you always. We will be back tomorrow. Tomorrow we got fights, baby. The fights are taking place in Mexico City, Mexico tomorrow at a normal time. So, luckily that'll be about the same. But 4:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be here on the Yama channel with the Vitz King. Chase, where are you going to be?
We're going to be on YouTube streaming at youtube.com/CP Smalls. And we're going to be on Twitter having great times. X.com/creativepartin, PARTIN.
There you go. At Yama Show on Twitter, on Instagram, youtube.com/@Yama Show for this channel as well. Just before we went on today, only a few hours before, I put out a new video about Cain Velasquez and the whole situation with him, his incident, and the sentencing that happened with Cain. A little bit more of a serious subject matter there, but I encourage you to watch that if you want to get the full story on that. So check that out. Give it a like if you enjoy it. We'll catch back up with you tomorrow for the fights, everybody. Have a great rest of your night. And as always, fight on.
It's